What up, Vibers? It's your boy Kai. Welcome to another episode of the Vibe with Kai podcast. I want to kick things off with a little bit of a confession. One that feels a little weird to admit after all of these years. You know, Sometimes I still catch myself trying to act quote normal, whatever that means. Even now, after my ADHD diagnosis, after years of talking about mental health online on social media, on my platforms and stuff, I'll find myself hiding parts of how my brain really works. Like I'm stuck on autopilot, still trying to fit in. And it's exhausting. It really is. This week is actually a special one for me because May 26th is my birthday. Yeah. I turned I turned 38 this year. I was supposed to be at Universal Studios Epic Universe this week for their opening week. I was so ready for roller coasters and dark rides and butter beer and pretending not to be absolutely terrified of monster animatronics. But life had other plans. Life had other plans for me, you know? And I had to push back. I had to push this trip back to later this year for personal reasons. Honestly, I'm a little bummed. I'm not going to lie. I built up all of this excitement, but hey, that's life, right? I'll still get there. And when I do, I'm going to ride every coaster I can find, obviously. I'm going to ride every single ride there. I'll probably lose my voice, and I'm definitely going to talk about it for months because that's just what I do. While I've been home during this birthday week, I've been stuck with my own thoughts, you know, and my two cats who have zero interest in theme parks. I can tell you that. I've been stuck with my own thoughts. I've been thinking about how often I've tried to blend in, especially with my ADHD. Even as an adult, even as a creator, even as a guy who talks about this stuff for a living. So today, let's talk about that. Why do so many adults with ADHD end up hiding parts of themselves? Why do we feel like we have to mask our symptoms even when it drains us? And how do you actually stop doing it? Stick around. Stick around. I've got a listener story that you'll want to hear today. I got some real talk about my own journey, and I got a tip of the week that might just change how you show up. Might change how you show up to work, how you show up at home, how you show up with yourself. Let's start off with a listener story today. I want to read you a story that came into my inbox recently. We're going to call this listener Sam because I want to make sure that our listeners are anonymous. So we'll call this listener Sam. And here's what Sam wrote. Sam said, "Kai, I'm in my late 30s. I didn't know I had ADHD until last year. But when I look back, I realized I've spent most of my life pretending I'm someone that I'm not. I've always tried to act calm. I always tried to act organized, even though my brain is chaos 24/7. In meetings, I write down everything so I don't look spaced out. I rehearse conversations before they happen. I clean like a maniac before anybody comes over. I thought I was being, quote, responsible, but now I realize I'm hiding. It's starting to feel fake, but I don't know how to just be myself. Kai, how do you unlearn years of pretending?" Sam, wow. First off, thank you for writing in. If you're listening right now, your feelings make so much sense. This is something that this is something that many of us with ADHD do on purpose and sometimes without even realizing it. So let's break this down for a second. Sam, you're not alone in over preparing or rehearsing. You're not the only one who's felt fake for hiding your chaos. You're definitely not the only one who's felt exhausted by it. Sam, this is called ADHD masking. It's when we hide our natural behaviors, our quirks, our struggles, our messiness in order to fit into a world that doesn't always get us. And most of us started doing it as kids. Maybe you were told to sit still or stop daydreaming or just try harder. Do those things sound familiar? We went through this, as a lot of us as kids, so we've learned to hide. Sometimes we hid so well that you don't even notice that you're doing it. But there's hope. There's hope. You can learn to drop the mask. Not all at once, not everywhere, but in safe places with safe people, and most importantly, with yourself. The first step is even noticing that you're masking. The second is giving yourself permission to show up as you are, even if it is messy. So, Sam, and anyone else who relates to this, I want you to try this. I want you to pick one small thing that you usually hide. Maybe it's your fidgeting. Like I have my little fidget toy right here, right? Maybe it's your fidgeting, or maybe you need to take breaks, right? Practice letting yourself do it just once. Do it in a safe situation. Notice how it feels. Notice what doesn't happen. Most of the time, people are a lot more accepting than we expect. But that said, if you're listening and you got your own story about ADHD masking, hit me up. I want you to email me at vibe@thevibewithkai.com or DM me because I love hearing from you. I want to hear your story. So shoot me your story. You might be featured in a future episode. So I want to give a shout out to Sam for being vulnerable and for sharing your story. Thank you, Sam. I appreciate you. Appreciate you. All right, let's get into our main topic today. Why do adults with ADHD mask their symptoms? Here's the real answer. We do it because somewhere along the way, we learned that showing our real selves led to rejection, it led to judgment, and it led to just being misunderstood. And the wild part, a lot of us don't even realize we're doing it. I masked my symptoms for over 30 years. I became a pro at acting normal. I'd rehearse my words so I wouldn't interrupt. I'd spend hours organizing my desk before people saw it. I'd say yes to things even when I knew I was overwhelmed just to avoid looking flaky. The truth is, most of us with ADHD start masking as kids. We get messages, sometimes direct, sometimes subtle, that our energy, our daydreaming, our quote, weird habits aren't welcome. So we learn to dial it down, we learn to hide it. But here's the problem: masking is exhausting. It's exhausting. It's like running a mental marathon every single day. You ever finish a day of being normal and you just crash on the couch? That's masking burnout. And get this, science backs it up. Research shows that adults with ADHD mask their symptoms way more than neurotypical folk, but not as much as people with autism. Still, the mental health cost is huge. We get anxious. We get depressed. We start to wonder who we really are underneath all of it. And fun fact, masking is so good that it can even delay your diagnosis, especially if you're a woman or if you're non-binary. Girls and women are taught to be quiet, to please others, to not cause trouble. So they hide their ADHD, and doctors often miss it. But let's pause for a second. Do you ever feel like you have two personalities, one for the world and one for yourself? Do you ever find yourself apologizing for things that aren't your fault, like being too much or being too forgetful? Have you ever left a party or a meeting feeling like you just finished a performance? That's masking. That is masking, and you're not alone. When I finally got my diagnosis at 34, it was like someone gave me a new pair of glasses. Suddenly I could see all the ways that I'd tried to blend in and all the ways that it was costing me. That's when I start experimenting with something new. Instead of hiding my symptoms, I tried to use them to let them work for me, not against me. If I needed to fidget, I fidgeted. If I zoned out, I let myself come back when I was ready. No shame. I started talking openly about how my brain works at work, with friends, here on this podcast, on my social media channels. Is it easy? Hell no. It's not easy at all. But it's so much lighter. I don't feel like I'm carrying this giant secret all the time. I'm just me. So, what's the solution? How do you unmask safely? Here's what helped me. Start by noticing when you're masking. It might be in meetings, with family, or even online. Ask yourself, am I doing this because it feels right, or because I'm scared of being judged? Pick one safe space to let your guard down, even just a little bit. Celebrate every moment that you show up as yourself, even if it's messy or weird or too much. And friends, I want you to keep this in mind. I want you to remember, you're not broken. Your brain is just wired differently. And honestly, the world needs more of that. All right. My allergies are acting up, so don't mind me as I blow up my nose. I want to lighten it up a little bit with my tip of the week. This one's a little weird, but just stick with me. Hold on, responding to a text message. There we go. This one's a little weird, but stick with me. I call it the bathroom strategy. Yeah, yeah, you heard me right. You heard me right. The bathroom strategy. When I was in school, and honestly, sometimes even now, I would take bathroom breaks just to breathe. I would take bathroom breaks to just regroup, and I would let my real self out. I wasn't even using the bathroom half the time. I just needed a place where I didn't have to act. If you're feeling like you're putting on a performance all day, try building these little escape hatches into your schedule. That could be a bathroom break, it could be a solo walk, a quick stretch in the hallway, whatever works for you. You know? Sorry, I'm responding to this text again. Sometimes people don't know that I'm recording a podcast. That's why I asked to text before calling. Oh, good. Okay, there we go. I put on a performance sometimes, and I tried to build like these little escape hatches into my schedule, right? So like it can be a bathroom break, a solo walk, a quick stretch down the hallway, whatever works for you. So here's how you do it. I want you to notice when you start to feel the mask slipping, right? Or the anxiety rising. Excuse yourself for a minute, just literally or figuratively. Use those few moments to drop the act. Shake out your hands, stare at the wall, take deep breaths, let your body reset. Quick warning, sometimes these breaks don't work. Maybe you can't step away, or maybe you come back and you still feel drained. That's normal. If that happens, try not to beat yourself up. Masking is a survival skill. If you're still using it, it means that you need it. Just try again when you can. Give yourself some grace. The point isn't perfection, it's just practice. Let's jump into this week's listener question. Here's one that I get a lot. Kai, I feel like I'm living a double life. I'm outgoing and put together at work, but at home I crash and I turn into a gremlin. Am I faking it? Am I broken? My friend, thank you for sending in that question. That's great. You're not crazy. You're not crazy for feeling that way. Here's why it happens. A lot of us mask so well that our outside lives don't match what's going on the inside. We hold it together in public, then we fall apart in private. That doesn't mean that you're fake. It means that you've gotten really good at surviving. So try this instead. Start noticing when the switch happens. What triggers you to go into, that performance mode? And I want you to remind yourself, I'm allowed to be the real me, even if it's just with myself at first. If you trust someone at work or in your life, try letting them in. Try letting them in on what's really going on, just a little bit. You'd be surprised at how much relief comes from not having to pretend all the time. I love answering those questions. If you have questions, you can email me. Again, you can email me vibe@thevibewithkai.com or hit me up on Facebook, Instagram, DM me, whatever you want. And your question might pop up because there are no dumb questions when it comes to this stuff. So ask away. Send me your question and it might be featured in a future episode. So thank you. Thank you for sending that question. Vibers, that's it for today, my friends. If this episode hit home, I want you to remember, I want you to remember this one thing. You're not alone in this. You're not broken. You don't have to be normal to be worthy of love, success, or rest. If you're looking for support, if you're looking for more support, you can check out my digital guidebook. It's called Navigating ADHD as an Adult. Just visit my website, thevibewithkai.com. You'll find all the links there. I'm also going to include a link to grab it in the show notes. And since it is still Mental Health Awareness Month and it's my birthday week, my birthday month, so I'm giving away the book for 75% off. So you can get it today for only $5. $5. So make sure you go get that today. Get your copy because I think it's gonna be worth it for you. And hey, don't be shy. Email me, DM me your stories. Email me, DM me your wins, your questions. Share this episode with a friend who really needs it. And if you really enjoy this episode, if you enjoy this podcast, please make sure that you leave a rating or a review. If you found this helpful, leave your feedback because I want to know what your thoughts are, and I want this podcast to grow because I think it can help a lot of people that are struggling like us. You know what I'm saying? Because like all that kind of stuff, it helps more than you know. With that said, my friends, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. As always, much love, good vibes. I'll talk to you later. Bye.